Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to your daily news flash. I'm Nick, and we have some intriguing stories to cover today. First up, we've got a surprising revelation about the frugal billionaire Warren Buffett. You know he still lives in his modest Omaha house and enjoys McDonald's, right? Well, it turns out that's not all. In addition to his Omaha home, he had a Laguna Beach mansion that he sold for a whopping $7 million. Talk about living like a billionaire while staying true to your roots. Now, let's dive into the market snapshot. Yesterday, the S&P 500, Nasdaq Composite, and Dow Jones Industrial Average all closed slightly in the red as investors held back ahead of Apple and Amazon's earnings reports. Today, futures are inching higher as markets react to the July jobs report. Non-farm payrolls increased by 187,000, slightly below the expected 200,000. And the unemployment rate stands at 3.5%, slightly lower than the anticipated 3.6%. On our radar, it's Jobs Day, and Wall Street will be closely monitoring the report's impact on future Federal Reserve policy. Next week, we can expect major earnings reports from companies like UPS, Disney, and Alibaba, among others. Now, let's jump into our top stories. Amazon delivered strong gains to investors with its Q2 earnings report. The company's revenue increased by 11% year-on-year to $134.4 billion, surpassing estimates. Quarterly earnings per share stood at 65 cents, exceeding analyst expectations of 34 cents per share. Amazon Web Services, AWS, sales reached $22.1 billion, a 12% year-on-year increase, while North America and international sales also saw growth at 11% and 10% year-on-year respectively. CEO Andy Jassy highlighted the meaningful leadership position of AWS in the cloud, with strong demand for advertising services. Amazon expects Q3 revenue to be between $138 and $143 billion. Now, let's move on to Apple's Q3 earning report. Apple's fiscal year third quarter results creeped past estimates, driven by robust service sector growth. The company reported earnings per share of $1.26 on revenue of $81.8 billion, slightly beating expectations. While Mac sales exceeded forecasts, iPhone and iPad revenue fell short. Analysts had expected higher iPhone shipments due to demand recovery in China and a favorable mix shift. CEO Tim Cook expressed excitement over the all-time revenue record in services during the quarter, with over 1 billion paid subscriptions and strong sales of iPhones in emerging markets. The slowest quarter for Apple typically leads up to the back-to-school season and anticipation of new product launches. And that's a wrap for today's news flash. Have a fantastic Friday. We'll be back next week with more news.